wouldn't you know it, they're trying to ban something that will have absolutely no impact on anything whatsoever except for usurping your constitutionally protected rights. And what we're talking about here today is a bill that has been resubmitted in both the House and the Senate. It is technically a bill. However, I think there should be standards by which these things are allowed to be submitted. And this is clearly a political stunt, but I digress. And this is the HERE Act, and this is a bill to ban suppressors. So if you're not tracking, currently in the United States, the suppressor or silencer is a regulated item that requires the filling out of a Form 4 for transfer of an NFA item, go through the NFA process, submit to a intrusive, lengthy, unconstitutional background check that will take anywhere from 6 to 10 months, mostly tied up in administrative paperwork and red tape, but that's beside the point. Submit your fingerprints, picture of yourself, et cetera, and pay a $200 sin tax. Well, they're looking to now move that out of regulated status to prohibited status so that you can't have them at all. And they want to give you 90 days to turn them in. And of course, they've put their language in there for, we're going to buy them back, even though you can't buy something back that you never owned in the first place. And I'm going to guess that they're not refunding you both the $200 tax stamp and the approximately somewhere between $500 to $1,200 for the item itself. You're probably not getting your money back. And of course, right there on the top, shall not apply to government. I know that you're shocked by that. This bill was introduced by both Senator Menendez and Representative Watson Coleman. Can't hyphenate your name? Don't know what a hyphen is? Maybe it's a typo. I don't know. Although this is an official website, so you would think they'd be able to. Let's go to some of the hyperbolic rhetoric that we've put in here. So from Senator Menendez, gun silencers are devices designed for a very specific purpose, to suppress the sound of gunfire. Correct. From unsuspecting victims to reduce chances of run, hide, blah, 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 blah. False. Absolutely false. So it's been a minute since I've looked at the data. But the last time I did it a couple of years ago, it was like 1.5 million suppressors that are privately owned. And there's since been a buying craze. So I'm going to guess that this number's probably closer to 2, if not higher. And at the time, we were talking something along the lines of 0.001% are used in criminal actions. That includes nonviolent criminal actions, things like, somebody didn't know that they were making a suppressor and that it was prohibited. We're not even talking about just the violent issues. We're talking about all criminal instances associated with silencers. That's not 0.1. That's not 0.01. That's 0.001%. So that is one. Let me check my math real quick. So my math's in. That's 1 in every 100,000 units are used in some kind of crime. But if you parse that data even farther and look at the violent crime, several of the documented violent crimes with suppressors were committed by government officials. So there's your sign. Now let's hear from Rep. CW. Silencers are not tools for self-defense. False. And to illustrate this point, this is the window that overlooks the drive to the office. You will notice that the self-defense weapon that I have right here, look at that, happens to have a suppressor on it. So if I were to get into a self-defense incident while in my office or at my office, this is the weapon that I would be using. And yes, you identified that right. That is a Brownells BRN 180. And while this video is not sponsored by Brownells, there is a full video out that you can go see if you're interested in that firearm. And if you would like to support the channel, then there is an affiliates page where you can find all kinds of discount codes from brands that we trust. And I do believe over there at the affiliates page, there is a discount code for Brownells. It's listed everywhere that we list the affiliates page, which is not in the description box of this video. Of course, followed on by the usual ad nauseum political grandstanding, followed by how they're going to pay for it. And the list of co-sponsors is all the usual suspects from the gun control cult, throw a slippery sausage and hit 2 or 3 of them. You know the drill. Of course, in that list is all of the political action organizations that you would expect to see as well. And this one is particularly good. The Violence Policy Center. These people. Manufacturers brag that silencers can make guns whisper quiet while increasing shooters' accuracy and the ability to fire rounds more quickly. Okay. First off, if somebody ever claims themselves to be an expert on anything, you should never listen to them. Okay? An expert status is something that is assigned by your peers. You can never claim it for yourself. The way to properly state that you have expertise in an area is to state your credentials and how much experience you have. So to lay it out there, I have tested over 100 designs of suppressors over the course of my career. I don't know if that makes me an expert or not. You can decide. However, suppressors do not make guns whisper quiet. This is just a fallacy. The normal centerfire rifle suppressor, as in one of the ones that I just showed you, for instance, usually brings the signature of a centerfire rifle cartridge down below 140, which is the acceptable limit for a single exposure in a 24-hour period. If you shoot that gun more than once, then it is no longer safe for your hearing. Just throwing that out there so that we can wade through that. An unsuppressed weapon, let's say an AR-15, for instance, chambered in 5.56, is doing somewhere around 167 to 170 decibels, and that is instantaneously damaging to your hearing, obviously. To put it in perspective, we're talking about something like a jet engine produces about 150 decibels, something like that. I need to look that up. 120 and 140 decibels, rock concert, auto racing, or hammer pounding on nails. Yeah. So, whisper quiet. Continuing on, they give a list of recent incidences where suppressors have been used in crimes. And one of them specifically listed sounded like a nail gun. I don't know if you've ever fired a nail gun before, but they're pretty loud. One of the other instances that they listed was in 2023, where somebody used a homemade suppressor, which, by the way, is already prohibited. You have to have a completed Form 1 if you're going to make a firearm suppressor at home. It's already illegal under the law, so that worked, right? December 2017, where a man was arrested for possessing a silencer that was not registered to him, that was trafficked to him by an undercover detective. It's so rare that they literally have to make up the instances by themselves. There are currently over 900,000 silencers registered under the National Firearms Act, which I suppose 1.5 to 2 million is over 900,000. So I guess that's a factual statement, although clearly aren't paying attention to the numbers. But that aside, I'll leave you with this. Gun silencers are among the fastest growing segments of the gun industry. While several states, including New Jersey, outlaw gun silencers, these devices are currently permitted under federal law and must be registered. 42 states. 42 states is the number of states where they are currently legal, and there are challenges in many states where they are currently, quote unquote, quote, prohibited. So I would like to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think about this whole thing? Does this have any chance of passing? And what's going to be the next state to allow silencers to be legal in their locale? When I read stuff like this from anti-gunners, it makes me happy.